All right, Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah, where are you from originally?
Reno, Nevada.
Reno. And tell me about your family. You have mom and dad?
Yep, mom and dad, married, high school sweethearts. I have two sisters. I was the oldest. My mom was an RN. My dad was a doctor. They both passed away.
Not during your childhood, but later in life.
I grew up, I was normal. I went to Catholic school. We lived in a middle-class neighborhood. My dad had a small practice. I did great, I think. And then I was a swimmer. At 15, I ended up pregnant with my friend's older brother's child. My parents had me get married at 15, and I delivered my first child at the day after my 16th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you marry?
I was married, yeah, to Peter. We decided we had another child a year later. So I was 17 with two children under the age of 2. And it wasn't going well with my husband. He was a lot older than I was. There was a lot of domestic violence. My parents bailing me out all the time. And I met Jacob when I was 19 years old. He was 24 and he had tattoos all over, and it was at the Sparks Marina, and I fell in love with him. And I asked him, what are you, fresh out of prison? I'd never met anybody who'd gone to prison or anything like that. And he said, yeah, 2 weeks. And we started dating. My parents actually adored him, took him in, went to church. I was a Sunday school teacher. My kids were doing great. And we decided to have a baby. And we got pregnant pretty quickly. And I found out that he was using meth. Some things had turned up missing at our house. I didn't really know what that was. I lived an extremely sheltered life. No television. Even though I had children, my parents were a big part of raising them so I could finish school. And we were at the doctor when I was 9 months pregnant. And he punched my doctor, Dr. Paz, because he touched me while I didn't have my clothes on, my OBGYN. And I said, you've got to get off this drug. I didn't know what it was. And he said he would, and he went to go to sleep at a friend's house. And the next thing I know, I'm watching the news, and he's been tasered by the police, the Sparks Police Department. And he was dead. I was 9 months pregnant. He died on June 9th, 2004.
From?
Well, they say that it was a massive heart attack. He was asleep. The police came and woke him up due to the woman he was staying with. He opened the door and let the police in, and he had committed some property crime. I don't know who had gone in there. It was the first year that tasers had been introduced into the police force, and they tasered him when he woke up combative. And he died there. They say he died at the hospital, but he died there. And that was on June 9th, 2004. And our son was born on June 21st, 2004. He was supposed to be a little girl, but he turned out to be a boy. And
is there any settlement in that suit?
I can't talk about that, unfortunately.
Okay. Where did your life go from there?
Well, that was the same week that my mom had been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer at 50. And so she was in the hospital when I was delivering. She had had her intestines removed. My dad was in Hong Kong. He was the director of the YMCA there. And it just was crazy. I was the mom of 3 kids. I was doing it by myself pretty much. I was in college. My 2 oldest went to their dad every other week. And I had my youngest. And my parents moved to California, to San Ramon, Danville area, for treatment for my mom's cancer. We didn't have health insurance because we didn't need it. They handled it themselves. And so pretty much everything that they had was sold to take care of my mom. And every Friday night, I was working at the pepper mill at the time and going to school. I would leave work, pick up my kids, pick up my sisters, and we would drive to California, where I'd relieve my dad to help take care of my mom, who was on hospice. And I'd come home every Sunday night and go back to work and do it all again. And we did that for a year. And I got a phone call one morning, that she had passed. And so it was kind of just dealing with that. I didn't really think about everything that had happened with Jacob. It was just, I was doing what I had to do because our matriarch was dying. And she passed away, and our family just came unglued. I came unglued. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was idle hands. I was so busy all of a sudden I had nothing. I've never really told anybody this, but I asked my husband, my ex-husband, the kid's dad, if my kids don't even know this, if he would please just take the kids for a little while because I needed to deal with my mom's affairs. And I never went back for them, for the two oldest. I just fell off the face of the earth. I took the baby and I left. Not because of drugs or anything. I wasn't doing drugs then. I was drinking pretty heavily. But I met my now husband, a man who was going to help me raise my baby. Father, they had a dad. So my two oldest just left them in Reno, and I never went back. And I married, well, I didn't marry him right away, but I dated him, and he raised Gabriel, my youngest, as his own. And we lived in a house in Benicia, California. It's beautiful. I had a perfect family. I kind of just almost killed my two oldest kids in my head because I didn't ever tell my husband about them. Or my son. And I just never spoke to them. And I lived my life completely normal. I was a soccer mom. I was head of PTO. I was doing everything I was supposed to do, and my youngest had a beautiful life. And adopted my husband's family the same way I did. They adopted us. I didn't have anybody. And then 2013, I got a phone call that my dad was at Mesa General. He'd been found unresponsive, and he was brain dead from an overdose. And me being the oldest, I needed to come to Mesa because I was medical power of attorney. And my sisters were in Guam at the time. Well, one sister was in Guam, the other was in Vegas. And I made the decision to take him off life support and donate his organs, which is what he wanted, and Mesa law. I was drinking then. Drinking. I'd been drinking ever since my mom died. And it was up to about a gallon of vodka a day. My walking blood alcohol level was 0.23, not slurring, stumbling, anything. I was drinking every day just to get up. I had to wake up to drink so I wouldn't have seizures. And my marriage was falling apart. Taylor had recently contacted me and said she ran away from home. I hadn't spoken to her in, 10 years. And I wouldn't take her phone call because I was afraid my husband would find out was all just a lie. Like the whole time I'd just been living this incredible lie. All because of just one tiny thing. And I was sick. I was so sick to my stomach all the time and worried about every phone call that was going to come. And so I decided to leave my husband, which is what I do best. I run away when something isn't going my way. And my youngest still didn't know about his siblings, and I had lied, and I moved back to Reno. I just left him. He didn't tell him anything. I took half of everything and left. And he didn't know. I don't know how he found out. I think his mom told him because I told his mom, and we hadn't spoken since. But that was in like 2016. That was 3 years later. I mean, 3 years of just living, like drinking, not knowing when he was going to find out. And I mean, we were married for 13 years, or together for 13 years. And I came back to Reno, which I thought was home because my home had been Benicia, but everyone was gone from Reno. And I thought I started saying like, oh, I have 3 kids, you know, not just one, I have 3. And I thought it was just going to be some easy transition into being their mother again. But I mean, they were grown. And they wanted nothing to do with me. And my sisters, they were so angry at me, they had told my son, my youngest, that I'd lied his whole life to him, that he had an older brother and sister that he lived with for 2 years of his life. And he decided he didn't want to live with me anymore either. So he left. And they pretty much just stopped talking to me altogether. None of them, my sisters. And that's the only family we have. We don't have anybody else. Everyone passed away. And I was just left in Reno by myself, and it didn't feel like home. And I met somebody, a girl, and all these people were doing drugs around me. I thought, shit, let's do it. So I was 36. And I started using meth intravenously. First time. And I've been using every day since then. And my life has just slowly become this. I don't fit in anywhere. I don't fit in with my old friends. I don't fit in with the people here. Everybody thinks I'm a prostitute. No one really knows what to think because no one trusts me. So I've just been going from place to place, looking for whatever.
So you've just been traveling around for how long now?
I guess a year. Yeah. I take the train. I had cars. I had a place in Reno for a long time, through COVID and all that, which is where I got the friends or acquaintances that I have now. I don't think there's a person on this earth that actually knows what I just told you. Everything. There's going to be a lot of surprised people, including my children. But I pretended, like I did when Taylor and Lucas were gone. I just blocked it out and created a new life for myself and was happy in it because it's the only way to survive. I was Sarah, the drug addict now. But I have had so many faces or masks or whatever you want to call it. And I played it so well every time. I don't even know who I am anymore, or if I ever knew.
What do you think is behind this tendency to kind of just file away parts of your life,
I don't know.
even your kids.
Probably. Everyone says that, oh, Sarah, you have an excuse. Or at least, like people who knew me. Oh, it makes total sense. You lost your mom, you lost Jacob, you were a single mom, postpartum depression. I mean, I have all of these excuses, but I've never said them because I don't want Taylor and Lucas to ever think that there's a reason that made it okay what I did, because nothing is ever going to make that okay. But I've never said it, hey, by the way, your dad, hey, he was almost 30, when he was 15. Or maybe he, or I've never said, well, I did it because my mom died or because of this. I don't know if there is a reason. I just know that it happened. And I can't make up for it. But it's killing me. Literally. I don't look anything like I used to. But I guess that comes with 4 years of, I'm a bad drug addict even. I can't even do drugs anymore. I'm so bad at it. I try and I can't. My veins are shot out. Only half the people that I know right now even know that I use drugs. The ones who use with me. But no one's ever stayed long enough to, or maybe I don't stay long enough to get close anymore.
Is it an unwillingness to take responsibility for?
Oh no, I take 100% responsibility for everything I've done.
No, but to walk away from your kids and just pretend they don't exist.
To take responsibility for that? Or?
Well, I mean, like you have 2 children and you just kind of.
I left them with their dad. Yeah. I don't know why I did it. It wasn't that. I wanted Gabriel to have a good life. I don't know. And I felt like they could do that there. There is no excuse. It wasn't because I was sick or anything like that. It was because I made a conscious decision to leave them there. I knew what I was doing.
And you were drug-free when you made that decision.
Yes. And that's the saddest part. I wish I had an excuse.
If drugs were part of the picture, it would have made sense.
Yeah, I was an alcoholic, but not like to the point of, I knew what I was doing and I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I didn't make the right decision, or maybe I did. Shit, I don't know. Because they were all amazing. Now they're doing great.
How old are your kids now?
My daughter is 23. And she's in the Navy. She's very smart. Award-winning. She speaks English amazing. My son is in the Marines. He's doing great. He's 21. She's turned 21. And my youngest turned 18 this last week.
Did you talk to any of
And
them?
he's in the Army, going in the Army.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All military.
All military.
Do you talk with any of them?
I talked to the oldest. She writes me on Facebook. But that's it. We got in contact 2 years ago. I wrote her. I asked her if she wanted to know my story. It was the first time I was ever going to tell it, but she didn't want to. But she said she'd start a relationship with me. But she would never give me her phone number or her address. I've tried. I've asked. I was going to see her a couple weeks ago. But I came back this way from the East Coast for a guy, which was more important apparently. So now it's been probably the worst it's ever been. I have no real source of income. I've been put in some pretty hairy situations that I put myself in because I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have any friends anymore to call on to ask for money or a place to stay. I've burned those bridges, not in a bad way, but in the kind of way that I'm too embarrassed anymore. 3 weeks ago, I was in Bakersfield underneath a bridge. And now I'm here on Skid Row.
If you had your life to live all over again, what would you have done differently?
I don't know. I can't think of it. I can't think of a time. I can't think of a moment where something happened where it went bad. I don't know when that happened or when I decided to choose make bad decisions. I continuously make them and I know I'm making them. So I guess that's the hardest part.
Do you think you're still making decisions that are...
Oh, absolutely.
Did you do this before the parts of your story that were like...
Those were all conscious bad decisions.
But were you, like in your teen years and even before you were...
When I was about, I think I started when I was about 15. Yeah, it was middle school of private school. It was private school, and I wanted to hang out with the kids that were across the street, not at my Catholic school. I wanted to go to Clayton Middle School and be what those kids were. And I didn't want to be what we were doing. I wasn't interested in any of that. No, I was smart and in a situation where I could make something of myself. I did make something of myself. I just was never happy doing it. I was doing it for my parents. I was scared to death of authority, and I still am. I'm scared of everything. I have no idea how I do this every day. I'm scared to death all the time.
What are you most afraid of?
Dying alone. I don't think that anyone would even notice if I was gone. They never do. If I change my phone number or something, my phone doesn't ever ring. I turned it off when we came in here like someone was going to call me. No one does. It's weird because I get a lot of attention all the time, a lot. But there's not one person that would come and find me if it was the end of the world. I wouldn't be anybody's person. So I'm lonely. Not like as, in a partner or anything, just in
general. No friends.
I'm isolated. Yeah. But it's me who does it.
I assume you get depressed from all this?
Oh, God. It's an understatement. I have such anxiety. It's insane. If I could cry all of the time, I probably would. But if I did, I don't have anywhere to do it. I mean, I've gotten my own place now, actually. I got set up. But yet, instead of doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm still here shacked up with somebody.
Is it the drug making you make bad decisions now, or is it still the same?
I don't know. No, because to tell you the truth, I can't even get high. I rarely get high anymore. That's the thing. I really can't. I can't do it, and I refuse to smoke it. So I'm pretty much sober, making terrible decisions. No, it's the drugs. I don't know what it is, honestly. I have no idea. Maybe, all the, I don't know. I can't pinpoint anything.
You think it might be some kind of
it's a
mental disorder?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm sure I am. I was on Prozac for postpartum depression, but
it's kind of like the way a gambler will do something that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They do it anyway, and they know better.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like what you're doing. But
over and over and over again. And you know what? Unless it's handed to me, just here you go, Sarah, on a silver platter. Because, and it's not that I don't try. I will work hard at whatever I do, and I will do the best. I mean, I'm the best at everything that I do. But I don't think that any of those things are really me. I think I'm I play parts really well. And I don't know why that is. I've never actually been Sarah, and I don't know who she is either, so. I'm very disassociated from myself.
Do you think there's something, what do you think you're looking for by doing these things?
That's the thing. I don't have any goal. Not one. I honestly could care less if I die tomorrow. I have nothing to look forward to. That's how sad it is. I'm not capable of taking my own life or anything like that, but it wouldn't make any difference to me. There's not. If I could maybe have my kids in my life, that would be the only thing. And I don't know, I don't know. I live in a fairy tale. I do. And that's how I get through life every day, is with drugs and my make-believe stories. That everything's okay and none of these bad things ever happened. Half the people I know don't even know about my mom or my dad or Jacob or my family. I pretend like I just am perfect. I don't need everyone's sympathy. Because in my mind, it didn't even happen.
You don't look like a typical Skid Row drug user.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't fit in. No one likes me here.
You don't seem to fit in here.
No, there was a girl throwing rocks at me the other day, walking down the street in the middle of the night. Tallest woman I'd ever seen. Scared the crap out of me. She had no pants on. And I looked at that and the time and the fact that I was holding mace in my hand, had needles in my bag. A police officer drove by me, completely unaware of me. And I was like, wow, when did this happen? Like, how is this even possible? This is the kind of thing that I saw on the television, on these movies that we watched. This isn't a real place or a real place that I could be.
This is Skid Row.
I know it's a place. I thought it was like just a saying. I didn't even know. And I thought, how is this your life? Like, how did you go from that to this? And I wasn't even mad. Like, I'm okay with it. Like, there's not, because that's what you're doing and you better do a good job at it. But it's more like now, when I used to be like the center of attention, or just, you know, I demanded, you know, everybody, you know, pay attention to me and be the center of attention from the room, just demand it. And now I remember the first time that I really truly had no place to go. Like, I had my dog and it was snowing in Reno. And I was like, what do I do? So I walked to my childhood home and I thought, I'm just going to go there and see how I feel. And that was when it started my whole trip. I walked there with my dog in his stroller because he was blind. And it was like, well, that's not my house. It hasn't been my house in 16 years. Okay, so that's not it. And I was like, there's nowhere in Reno that I feel close to anybody. So what do? This is where I came. And my mom told me once, she said, go to church. Go find a Methodist church and tell them you're a member, that you were confirmed here. Just find one if you're ever in trouble. A long time ago, she said. I said, okay. So I went to my church that I had gone to for years. Taught Sunday school. The children that I taught were all older. The people who were still there that knew my mom and dad. And I sat on the stairs in the snow. And it wasn't that nobody would help. It was that nobody even saw me. I wasn't Sarah anymore. I wasn't the person that they knew. I was just that homeless person sitting on their church steps. These are people I knew. Nobody sees you when you're like this. You're not a person, you're nothing. You're a statistic. And it makes me sad. And I wish that there was something that I could do, because I used to, but I can't. So I am not any different than anybody out here. I'm just as homeless. I'm just as much of a drug addict, just as much as a screw up or mentally ill as every single one of them, if not more. So it sucks to not fit in on either side.
All right, Sarah, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.